expected to bag 38% of the national vote share, which is 11% more than the last time. But that's also because last time it was UPA, this time it is the India Alliance. So parties like the Trinamool, at this moment, this could change soon after our broadcast, but at this moment officially they are part of the India Alliance, which is why as a national aggregate their vote share is up 11%. The others from 28% are now coming down to 17%, down 11. That's as far as the alliance-wise vote share is concerned, where there is a very clear gap of 7 percentage points between the NDA and the India Alliance. Let's take a look at how this converts into seats. 400 par is Prime Minister Modi's war cry. They're heading there, but not there yet. 335 is the current projection by C Voter for the India Today group for this Mood of the Nation opinion poll, the last MOTN before the Lok Sabha elections. 335, way short of 400 at this moment. This is 18 down from the last election. So if you take all the allies together, they had 18 more last time. They're down at 335 at this moment. The India Alliance is at 166. That's 75 seats more than the last time. The others are at 42, 57 down, but that's an apples and oranges comparison because some of the parties which were in the others have now moved to the India Alliance. The big story though is that the NDA is set to come back to power quite comfortably. See, you want to hit 4 centuries in one match, you're hitting 3.5 centuries just yet. And remember, Rajdeep, there's also the fact that once this message goes out that Prime Minister Modi is comfortably placed, then a lot of people may decide, "Arey, vote kya waste karna, isi ko do," because if he's coming back. So that ultimately could also come into play.
You know, there seems to be, Rahul, an inevitability about the outcome. I think this is one of those strange or rare elections where it almost seems, at least when you speak to political observers and politicians, that the outcome is known. It's a question of where does the NDA, BJP-led NDA end up? Where does the BJP end up? These numbers are showing the BJP is roughly just around where it was in 2019. The NDA is marginally down, but as you said, there could be a bump it could get in the next 2 months because if it campaigns hard and the BJP is known to do that. Plus, could it get more allies? Remember, all of this is before the possibility of a Chandrababu Naidu or an Akali Dal joining in. All of that could take the BJP above 350. I know that there is all this buzz about 400 par. That perhaps will require the perfect storm. But the BJP has set the base. I think what this Mood of the Nation poll shows, people want Mr. Modi back. The majority seem to want Mr. Modi back for a third term in the first past the post system. And unless there's some kind of a miracle in the next 6 to 8 weeks, the India Alliance will have to simply accept next time, or good luck to you, 2029. 2024 appears as close to a done deal, Rahul, with these numbers. And the Prime Minister's popularity remains pretty high again.
It will be interesting to see whether he just wants to equal Nehru's record or actually be around the next time to beat Nehru's record, or at least attempt to beat Pandit Nehru's record. Let's take you through how the party-wise vote share and seat share would stack up. We looked at the alliance-wise numbers. Let's now look at the party-wise numbers. The Bharatiya Janata Party had 37% of the vote in the last election. That is expected to go up by a massive 3%. I'm saying massive because in a national context, for one party to be able to increase its vote share by 3%, that is a very significant achievement. The Congress had 20% of the vote share last time. C voters predicting at this moment that that could come down to 19, just a dip of 1. Others were at 43, they could be at 41. The big story there though is that the Bharatiya Janata Party, which in the last elections was standing at 37% vote share, could go up a massive 3% to 40.
You know, Rahul, there are two big stories. One is the BJP story, the possibility, as you said, that Prime Minister Modi will emulate what Nehru did, win 3 consecutive elections. The other story is the Congress party, losing 3 consecutive elections and its vote share not changing. I keep repeating, there's one figure that stands out for me, Rahul. The BJP got around 7.5 crore votes in 2009. It went up by a whopping 200% to over nearly 22 crores by 2019 in a decade. The Congress vote has remained relatively static at 11 crores. So while we are looking at the BJP and the big picture of Mr. Modi winning his hat-trick, we've got to also look at the Congress party. And I think somewhere there are
but
two
it's not
stories
static.
there.
If the pie is growing up and your portion say you're actually declining very badly. So you're not static.
See,
you're declining.
Your vote share is remaining static.
For a moment, and before we kickstart our discussion, let's take you through how this stacks up in terms of seats. We've looked at the vote share numbers. Let's take a look at how many seats each of these parties is projected to bag. The BJP, remember, had a 303 rifle that they were firing last time. This time it's 304. So it's not Mission 370. That's his rallying war cry. They're not there yet. 304 is where they stand. 71 is where the Congress stands, which is up 19 from the last time. Remember, there are gains in states like Telangana, which are helping the Congress do better than it did last time. Others at this moment are at 168, down 20. So that's where it stands. Prime Minister Modi very comfortably placed to be PM once more, which is why Raj Chingappa and his team are saying it's get set for a hat-trick.
Raj, you want to give us what your headline is? What is it hat-trick? Is it the Modi momentum? What is it?
It is set for a hat-trick.
So is it about Modi? Is it about the BJP? How do you see it? I see your cover has Mr. Modi imperiously walking down.
So we're calling it heading for a hat-trick. But let's, just for a moment look at the figures that are there.
Yes.
I mean, it's commendable that Mr. Modi in his 10th year is able to deliver the kind of numbers to the BJP and the NDA. And look at the term that he does it. In the second term, I mean, every world leader was under pressure, put on the mat. There was a once-in-a-century pandemic that was there. You had a complete collapse of the economy. You had the Chinese intrusion coming in. You had two wars, the Gaza and Ukraine war that pushed up inflation. Everything that could go wrong goes wrong. And yet, when we see at the end of 10 years, Mr. Modi is not only shining, but is up there in the league of greatness, possibly statesmanship that is happening. So I think we have to give him credit for what is it. Now, whether he's going to beat the record of Nehru, that has to be seen, but the polls indicate that. Whether he will beat the record of Rajiv Gandhi in 1984, that is to be seen, because 400 at the moment from what we took in these last 3 years, 3 or 4 bellwether states, the NDA seems to be holding, but not really catching up to the 370 that Mr. Modi wanted. I think what we will see in the next 2 months, there will be, I believe, because the way it is trending, and I studied what we did in 2014, when Dr. Manmohan Singh was aspiring and the Congress party was aspiring for a third term. If you looked at our Mood of the Nation poll at that time, in January 2014, the Congress was down to 100, and the UPA was down to 122 seats. And the BJP, the trend line was that the NDA and the BJP was going to win it. Here, it's just the opposite. The ruling dispensation is doing it. So I would think that we are going to see a Modi wave because they can only get better from here. They seem to have equaled what they've done, and we're going to see this huge movement. There are caveats, which...
We will come to the caveats in a moment, but is that how you see it? The big takeaway is the BJP has consolidated, holding its own. If anything, Yashwant Deshmukh, it could go up, possibly in the next 2 months, depending on the nature of the campaign, the kind of momentum that you tend to get, that the winner gets a kind of bandwagon effect.
Well, bandwagon or not, I've explained the relative turnout thing, which I think will be a very decisive factor, because I believe within the same vote share and sphere, just the higher relative turnout will give BJP extra 2-3 point jump, just by virtue of being able organizationally and resourcefully taking the supporter from their home to the polling booth. Out of that, having said that, you all know that from the seat projection perspective, I am a very, very conservative pollster. For what Raj is indicating, what Amitabh is indicating, probably is, they are poking me that, Yashwant, this is the starting block. And I agree to that, because when I look into the gap of 20% vote share for the BJP, Rajdeep, it's like it is likely to end up a complete sweep in many of the states where marginally I have probability-wise given 2 or 3 seats to the others. So if you look into the 335, it can easily be 350 just by taking into the other sweeping stakes of the BJP.
So is there any caveat at all, Rahul Verma? Is there an inevitability of the outcome, as I said, where the question now remains whether the BJP is where Yashwant has pegged them at 303, NDA at 335, or does the BJP go up to 340, 350, NDA 370, 380? Are these the only two scenarios you see, or is there a possibility of a 2004 miracle that the opposition is holding on to?
In Indian politics, there is always possibility, but the other term I'll use is probability. The probability of this now turning in a reverse direction is very, very low. And see what is happening in some ways, just to sort of like add to what Rahul was saying. PM Nehru in his successive elections, 52, 57, 62, Congress vote share did not improve. What is happening with BJP, 31, 37, and now projected is 40, 4 months ahead or 3 months ahead of election. And given if it's a conservative estimate, BJP being an organizational party can actually pick up more votes. With that kind of vote difference, the seat translation is going to be heavy. And second point, Congress is holding on to its 18% vote share and 70 seats because of its perhaps performance in Telangana and states like that. And we don't know what would conspire in some of these states. If BJP ties up with, say, BRS, Telangana seat tally might change.
What happens to the Congress party, Rashid Kidwai? 3 consecutive defeats, 15 years out of power. And while they may get 70 seats as per our poll, that could even come down to 40, 50 if the BJP goes up by 2030. Where does that leave the Congress party? Can it hold together with a third debacle?
Yeah. I think, Rajdeep, it may sound a bit odd and bizarre, but the Congress would be very happy to know Yashwant Deshmukh's, finding and mood of the nation that Congress is getting 71 Lok Sabha seats. It will give them a formal position of leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha. Remember, Congress is very easily satisfied party, and that's the one reason why it is going down. On the other side, when Bharat Jodo Yatra, and this is a very big lesson for Rahul Gandhi, when Bharat Jodo Yatra was started in first phase, it was thought that with that yatra, Rahul Gandhi Congress would be able to increase, its vote percentage by 3 to 4%. They were actually hoping for 25%. So it's a very bad news that Congress is not getting vote percentage, no increase in vote percentage. I think individually in states there will be breakaway Congress factions because nobody wants to be in opposition forever.
Amitabh, your big takeaway from these numbers, clearly it shows 2 months before the election, perhaps, as I said, more than any other election, a dead certainty as to who the winner is. I can only compare it with January 2019. January 2019, which is the best comparison to make, the Congress had just won 3 states in North India, and the poll suggested a tightening of the contest. The India Today mood of the nation actually suggested a tightening of the contest.
A coalition government for the NDA.
A potential coalition government for the NDA. Now we are seeing a clear majority for the BJP. What's your big takeaway? Is Indian politics heading towards some kind of a dominant party system, or is it about Prime Minister Modi being this domineering leader?
So BJP is, of course, attaining the pole position which Congress used to acquire during the 1950s to 1990s. At that point of time, Congress was competing mostly against regional parties. Here we have BJP competing mostly against regional parties because regional parties tally is 168 seats. BJP is increasing its vote share. Congress is holding on to its vote share, and all its gains are coming at the cost of regional parties.
In fact, the story, Rahul, for me is once again that remember 186 seats, roughly 186 seats, direct contest in 2019, Congress versus BJP. Congress won just 12. BJP won most of those seats by double digits. Nothing has changed. It's almost as if the Congress is where it is, comatose in a way electorally, and the BJP is growing. And
because they're not listening.
And the other factor, which is also in a way worrying, is the North-South divide. The BJP dominating North India, dominating West India, doing even very well in the East. It's only the South which seems to be marching to its own beat. And I wonder what the implications of that will be long term.
If the Congress had any good sense, and I'm not at this moment certain that the people who do are looking so obsessively at this election in the way that the BJP is, they should sit into a room, Messrs. Kharge, Rahul Gandhi, Uddhav Thackeray, Sharad Pawar, and say, let's thrash out the Maharashtra seat sharing formula before we leave. sit from morning till evening, go seat by seat, thrash it out, compromise, and do the same for Telangana. Figure out who your candidates are, get on the ground. Instead of just spattering your ammunition all over the place, focus on their... No, but they're not even invited, Rashid. That's the problem. Each of those leaders are saying...
Because Rahul Gandhi is there, so they need to...
But what is more important? Sitting and fighting and trying to win the few seats you have an opportunity of winning, or this yatra which only seems to be causing trouble?
Can I make an even more controversial point?
Which is what?
If I was the opposition today and I saw your numbers and the mood of the nation and all of us predicting the inevitability or the probability of the outcome, I would actually see one opportunity. And that is focus on state elections. There are going to be, look, there's a Lok Sabha election which the outcome seems inevitable. It's about whether...
No, but you cannot, if you're in the opposition, you cannot take it as inevitable. You have to fight the election.
No, you have to fight. That's why I said it's a contentious point. I would put I have 100 rupees in my pocket. I would put at least 80 rupees of that into state elections. There's Haryana, there's Maharashtra, there's Jharkhand, there's Bihar next year, then there's a series of other elections. Look, in the Lok Sabha, you can pick up, I'm only going by the mood of the nation, Rahul. You can pick up 20, 30 seats by what you're saying, better seat adjustments, do a little bit in Maharashtra, work out your numbers. You should do that. Of course you should. Every election has to be fought. But when I look at the priorities, my concern for this kind of opposition is that they seem to not even be able to get their act together often in state elections. Maharashtra is a good example. There's an election in Maharashtra in September, October. You win Maharashtra, you lift the morale. Imagine what happens if you lose Lok Sabha badly and then also you suffer a debacle in Maharashtra and Haryana. Eventually, and don't forget, Karnataka, the government could be on notice given the kind of numbers that we are showing. Telangana, the Congress has a small majority. So, the Congress Mukt Bharat or an opposition Mukt Bharat is in a way a reality if these numbers hold on. I would say focus on state elections, get your act together, and I agree with you. At the moment, you should be sitting across a table, working out seat sharing, working out some kind of plan. I don't see that, which is why I think Yashwant has underestimated the BJP. My numbers are, I did my own polling, 340 plus BJP, 370 plus ND Alliance. I'm not ruling out even a bigger number than that. Yes. That's the way I see it. I believe that the opposition is totally despondent.
Rashid Kidwai, are we seeing a phenomena similar to what we saw during the Gujarat Assembly elections, where because of what Rajdeep is saying, because of what others in the opposition seem to be thinking, the opposition just gives up the fight? Like when I traveled through Gujarat in the last assembly election, the opposition, the Congress wasn't even in the fight. AAP was trying to put up some fight. See, it's a self-perpetuating prophecy. If you don't fight, your opponents do even better. The BJP ended up with 154 out of 182. If the Congress had fought harder on every seat in every region, they may have done better. You give up the fight thinking, you take what Rajdeep is saying seriously, because the opposition takes what he's saying very seriously. If they start taking what he's saying seriously and not fighting this Lok Sabha election and preparing for the assembly election, jitna bura pitenge, usse aur pit jayenge.
Too late, Rahul. Ye sab hota chahiye tha 6 mahine pehle.
You see, the biggest problem with this opposition in 2024 is there is no sense of ownership. There is regional parties and there is Congress. When we talk about Congress, there is an official AICC president Mallikarjun Kharge, and there is a Rahul Gandhi who represents the political leadership of the Congress. Now each person.
So what does Kharge represent then?
He's a Congress president, but he lacks that kind of political leadership. That's what I'm saying. There is no sense of ownership.
Not and political leadership, political authority. He's not been given the political authority.
Can I just come in at this point? Take a look at the opposition. If, for instance, the Congress, if it had won one state in the north, Madhya Pradesh, where it was, anti-incumbency was clear. So it was so close to actually turning the election. Because if you go back in the year that's there, firstly you win Himachal in December, then you come back and win Karnataka, I'm talking last year. You have the India Alliance being formed at that particular point of view. You knew where your battles were. Okay. This is the difference between what the BJP does, which knows that these 3 seats were critical for them to get the momentum to win the Lok Sabha. Easily the story could have turned, and the mistakes the Congress started making...
Sanju Verma is with us and Radhika Khera is with us. Sanju Verma, to you first. I hope you've got some laddus and some mithai for Yashwant Deshmukh, Raj Chingappa and everybody else over here, because it seems that the Prime Minister...
She won't give me.
She won't give you?
She won't give me mithai.
No, she just said you were doing a great job when you were trending. She should give you mithai also. Now, 304, after 10 years of being in power for the BJP, 335 for the NDA, you know, it seems no matter whether you get to 400 and 370 or not, the outcome of the next election seems to be heavily skewed in your favor.
Yeah, you know, Rahul and Rajdeep, there's this famous saying by Norman Vincent, if you shoot for the moon, you will at least land among the stars. So whether it's 370 or 400 or 335, what have you. Point number one, BJP is romping home with a massive majority all on its own. Point number two, you know, I remember that famous interview with Prashant Kishore a few days back, where Rajdeep kept asking him, what is the secret sauce around brand Modi? So I have something to say to the Congress. हम तो जीतेंगे ही, पर कांग्रेस के जो समर्थक हैं, ये ध्यान से सुनिए. जो जानकर भी अनजान बना रहे, उसे दर्द क्या बताना? जो जानकर भी अनजान बना रहे, उसे दर्द क्या बताना? अभी मगरूर है वो, खुद में उन्हें क्यों होश में लाना? अभी मगरूर है वो खुद में, उन्हें क्यों होश में लाना? एहसास तब होगा उन्हें जब छोड़कर जाऊंगा. एहसास तब होगा उन्हें जब छोड़कर जाऊंगा. फिर नहीं होगा मुमकिन मेरा लौट कर आना. फिर नहीं होगा मुमकिन मेरा लौट कर आना. The voters have time and again.
कौन छोड़ के जा रहा है?
अरे भाई साहब, वोटर्स ने छोड़ दिया है, but Rahul Gandhi refuses to look into the mirror and get a reality check. But now I will speak with hard numbers. Just bear with me for 20 seconds. Of course,
before you go on, you've thrown a poetic punch. Radhika Khera, I don't know how good your shairi is. She's thrown a poetic punch at you. That's a bit of a googly. Can you come back on the spur with a counter? Let's see. The numbers aren't favoring you, but let's see how good your shairi is. Go for it, Radhika.
I'm sure that these numbers are a disappointment for the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson, because their claims of ab ki baar 400 par have gone down over here itself in your survey. But coming back to that, I feel that surveys are not actually showing the true picture. The true picture is what I have here. I'm sorry, I don't believe in shairi and all, because we are not here for entertainment. And India Today is for talking about hard facts. Hard fact, today's newspaper, which says, Kisan karenge aaj Delhi ka coup. This is the reality of the country today. The reality of the country today is that our wrestlers were sitting outside protesting, and what were they given in return of the protest? Lathia. The reality is that the entire country is dealing under inflation, unemployment, poor law and order. While Modi ji goes and pats himself on the back, I did not speak in between.
Sanju Verma, you must allow her to speak. No, please put down Sanju Verma's voice. You must allow her to speak.
We are a democratic country, and India Today is a democratic channel where you cannot mute my mic and you will let me speak. You cannot control the opposition over here. Well, coming back, the country is watching how over 100 parliamentarians were suspended for parliament because they were raising their voice. Country is watching everything. Country is watching how governments are being brought down, being scared by the ED. Parties are being broken down and new fractions are being made. Country is watching everything. Yes, there have been disappointments that we've had in the recent elections in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, but all surveys were predicting that Congress was winning Chhattisgarh. And Rajdeep, you even visited Chhattisgarh. The mood of Chhattisgarh was absolutely different on the ground. But something else happened. So I don't think that the...
So I want to go back to Sanju Verma. Sanju, you know, while the overall picture is very rosy, or should I say there are lots of lotuses in the overall national picture, and they're blooming, Maharashtra is a concern, Telangana is a concern, having an alliance in Andhra Pradesh, potentially even Punjab is a concern. And the way that the BJP has been operating, my sense is that they may be looking at these states where they're not doing well and trying to double down and figure out how to make the tactical arrangements to do well here.
You know, I will answer your question, and now I hope the courtesy will be extended to me. Ruling party के प्रवक्ता का mic mute नहीं किया जाएगा. You know, Radhika Khera, I agree with her on one thing. She said this is a serious channel. We are not here for entertainment. I completely agree. Entertainment तो राहुल गांधी दे रहे हैं, भरपूर entertainment as part of his भारत जोड़ो न्याय यात्रा. Where he says, stuff में कोयला डालो और stuff जल जाता. I thought that the stuff runs on kerosene or fuel. For the first time, I learned that the stuff runs on coal. So please, don't sit here and give me your half-baked knowledge. Now I will come to the hard facts. Rahul, I will not even talk about what, Mr. Arun Puri said in August 2023. These are famous quotes of his, which I really love reading them all over again on every debate. In August 2023, after your then Mood of the Nation poll, he said, Narendra Modi has pulled off what few leaders have. He has banished the universal factor of anti-incumbency. Narendra Modi's popularity rankings defy the law of gravity. I'm quoting Mr. Arun Puri ad verbatim. And I'll tell you why. Jahan Narendra Modi khade ho jate hain, wahi se line shuru ho jati hai, because we had a votes or number of seats at 17.6 crore in Lok Sabha 2014. People said, this was just happenstance. We got the number of seats, winning seats at 23 crore votes. 23 crore people voted for Narendra Modi in 2019, which means there was a 31% increase in our winnable seats between 2014 and 2019. Now, I am not even going to assume that BJP will see a 3% uptick in its vote share from 37 to 40%, as Rahul said. Let us assume that the vote share continues to remain at 37%. It does not rise to 40%. I'm being conservative, despite being an Andh and a Modi Bhakt. Despite having a vote share at just 37%, just going by past track record, if you extrapolate the numbers, you will see 30 crore people voting for BJP, assuming a 31% rise in number of seats. And if you assume
so you made that point, ma'am. I want to go across the table, ask Amitabh, what could be the X factors from here? We're in the beginning of February. We've got March still to go and then elections in April, May. What could change, good, bad, for both the opposition and the government?
See, X factors for the BJP clearly is the mood of the neutral or the undecided voters from now on, because BJP clearly has the momentum. The numbers are very strong for BJP. 335 NDA means if you add the reverses in Maharashtra and Bihar, which is 25 seat itself, 360. Plus you have a new ally from Andhra Pradesh, possibly 17 seats, 377. So mission 400 or 370 is not impossible. That's number one. This is largely predicated on the image of Prime Minister Modi. So if there is a black swan event which dents the popularity of Modi, that is the only event which could probably tilt the numbers in favor of the opposition. It's all about Modi, his popularity. He is getting the votes for the BJP, and he is the difference between the
But this
opposition
is an important point, Rachingappa, that it's essentially no matter who thinks what of it, the fact is, and you can quantify this, and we'll do this tomorrow, but if the BJP is winning in the way that it is, it's because of one man. And what this country thinks of one man, what anybody on this panel thinks of that man is inconsequential. The voters who we've spoken to would like Prime Minister Modi back. They have a direct connect with him. They have faith in him. They trust him. They want him back.
Well, let's call it brand Modi. That is really a phenomenon that has happened. And just looking at what Amitabh said, even in adversity, he comes out the winner. You had Pulwama, which was a black swan sort of event that happened in the thick of election. He converts that into a great opportunity. Take a look at his second term. Each of these things, COVID, he's first castigated. Our polls itself show that it goes down, comes back, with a bang, makes sure that the economy is growing, takes care of the people on one side. Then let's also look at I think there are a couple of qualities we have to look at Mr. Modi. Decisive leader, Article 370 goes. Early in the tenure that is there. Ram Temple, built at terrific speed. The Parliament House built it. Women's reservation bill put there. So you are seeing, if you take a look at some of the characteristics of leadership, vision, he has it. He's not only showing a vision for these next 5 years, he's looking, many people could say, well, that's, really pushing the target too far. But he's giving a nation, an aspiring nation, a road to development. And I think that's very important. So he's able to balance the Hindutva sentiment, which is the cultural sentiment that you want, or the soul of the nation, with pragmatic governance, decisive leadership, and this quality that he demonstrates in terms of welfareism as well. So he's taken all the planks of the opposition, appropriated all of them, made it his own, and has really, that is why you're seeing the kind of results you see.
And he's building, Rajdeep, a new republic, whether anybody likes it or not. Very different from the Nehruvian idea of India in the last 10 years, and he'll cement it in the next 5 if these numbers are correct. He has, in front of our eyes, built a new India.
Look, as I said, the Prime Minister is a consummate politician, and it isn't easy to hold on to your popularity over an extended period of time, particularly when you've gone through several black swan events over the last decade. That is a given. I like to use sort of M factors, and I'm going to give you 7, each of which I think it's not just Mr. Modi's secret sauce. I put Mr. Modi at the top. I put machine. The BJP is a machine. And the machine...
No, they built a machine. You mean machine, you think like it's a machine lying on the ground. Anybody can be a machine. They built a machine.
Of course they built a machine, but the machine has various aspects to it. The machine knows how to use state power. It will know where, when to corner the opposition.
So did the Congress when they were in opposition. So did the Congress.
Sure, of course.
But the Congress didn't build the structure that the BJP has built.
When you say that, Mr. Modi is building a new republic, I just want to give the elements, I think, that are important as to why is he still winning. There's Prime Minister Modi, consummate politician, knows how to use power. There's the machine of the BJP, the RSS, the Sangh Parivar. There's the message. The message, interestingly, look at Mr. Modi's message in the last month since Ram Mandir. He's not focusing on Mandir, he's focusing on Viksit Bharat, talking about infrastructure projects, talking about Amrit Kal. Cleverly knows how to change the goalposts. This is over, let's move on to the next. So the opposition doesn't know what will come next. Number 3. Number 4 is money. Let's be honest, Indian elections, the oxygen of Indian elections are increasingly money. The BJP dominates that space like no other party has done. The Congress may be in its palm, but that time, the opposition was much weaker.
No, but that time the Congress leaders, many of them pocketed the money themselves. There's different structure they are getting for the machine. A lot of the Congress leaders, and you know this well, pocketed
it's not as if in Maharashtra we don't have khoke ki rajniti. Let's not say that we don't have
institutional corruption in the manner in which there was under the UPA. That's not the case.
The jury is out on that, but I'm willing to concede that the Prime Minister has made it, ensured that the party comes first at the very top. Not in the case of the Congress, individuals came ahead of the party. Then you have Mandir. I think as the survey is also going to show, Ram Mandir has taken the Prime Minister's own popularity to another level. That's where it comes that, you're crafting a new ideological republic in a way, moving away from the Nehruvian idea to a new idea of a new republic. Who knows, uniform civil code comes next. Then, and I think this is crucial, you have the Mahagathbandhan. You see, you're as good as your opposition is. If you're playing a terrible opposition, which is so badly divided, which has really made no effort to actually build on the weaknesses of the government. It's not as if the government doesn't have weaknesses. Unemployment is a problem. Our survey also shows that. What have you done to build it? You have had 4 meetings of the India Alliance, all in 5-star hotels, or 3 of them in 5-star hotels, 1 in Patna where Nitish Kumar, your convener, has gone. You made no effort to capitalize when COVID management was going wrong, to build a kind of consensus. We need change. You've not offered me a leadership or a narrative to combat Modi. I think that's an important element. You're as good as your opposition is. Finally, and I know, Rahul, this is contentious, the media. Let's be honest, no one has dominated the media space quite like Mr. Modi is. So we've never really questioned, for example, the misuse of the ED in the way that it should be. The poll also shows a number of Indians believe the ED is being misused. So I think Mr. Modi is Teflon-like. All of this comes together to make him almost impregnable, pregnable. And I think, credit to him. It's not easy in today's world to be as popular in 2024 as you were in 2014.
More popular,
you can say, but it's a combination of various factors. Your popularity is also dependent on how unpopular the other side is.
No, but that's not Modi's fault.
It's not.
If his opponents don't know how to bat and bowl, how can you blame Modi for that?
Rahul, who's blaming Modi? I'm giving the reasonings. The reasoning is the opposition in the last 10 years has had opportunities. Demonetization was an opportunity. COVID was an opportunity. You had the chance to question the government in a serious manner. As this poll is showing, the regional parties are holding on to their own. But the Congress has been unable to rediscover itself. So the question will also have to be asked on Rahul Gandhi's leadership at some stage. Surely,
this poll,
how long is the Congress going to sort of protect him?
I think the biggest problem that the opposition is facing is a face. Who Modi versus who? Is it Mallikarjun Kharge? Is it Rahul Gandhi? Is it Mamata Banerjee? Is it Arvind Kejriwal? So people have no idea. Is it M.K. Stalin? Is it some other, chief minister? So, nobody knows. So therefore, Mr. Modi is having it, very easy. And the survey is indicating at that. If there was a face, if there was a, sort of caste affiliation, if there was issues, talking points attached to it, perhaps the outcome may not have been very different, but there would have been something like 2019-like situation.
Is he invincible? I mean,
at this point of time,
can we say that Mr. Modi is invincible? Could the opposition have done anything better to change the mood of the nation?
Maybe a better word is unstoppable.
Yes.
What could it have done?
There is always a possibility, but I think of politics structurally. And the nature of politics is such that opposition does not have many chances. To use a cricket analogy, if say Tendulkar or Virat Kohli is in full form, no matter you ball a Yorker or you ball a sort of like, a googly and spin, they will hit you.
But Tendulkar has got gold, Modi has never got gold.
This is why leaders are important. But think of 50s and 60s politics. Was there no leaders in opposition? There was Lohia and other things. Could they challenge Nehru and Congress party? No, because in political time, now you counted 7 things. Everything is in favor of BJP, right? So at the moment, I don't think there is any X factor. The only X factor could be that we have no sense of what's happening on the ground. People have made up different mind and they are telling something else. So at the moment, everything is aligned in favor of BJP.
Here's what I wish to say. Let's just zoom out for a moment and think of the larger picture in a more historical perspective. I was at the Pran Pratishtha of the Ram Mandir at Ayodhya, where while Prime Minister Modi was being introduced, he was linked to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, is the ideal Hindu king, who at that time, really demonstrated all the virtues that good Indian kings should have. So he's kind of being projected in a historical arc in that same kind of weight category. Rahul Verma, is there any contemporary political figure who comes to your mind who 10 years on, not just in India because there's no comparison here, but even internationally, 10 years after being in power, manages to increase his party's vote share by 3%. Go back in time. Who comes to your mind?
Can I make someone who can?
Yeah, who?
We often tend to, since Nehru is still in the news. Remember, Nehru in the early 60s was a weakened prime minister. The war with China, despite that, won. Please understand.
No, but his vote share kept coming down.
But
his vote share in the years that he was in power, the Congress kept losing ground, the BJP is gaining ground. And there was no opposition.
But where is the opposition today?
That's what I'm saying.
Where is the opposition today?
There was no opposition.
Where is the opposition? I think only Nehru can be compared.
Rahul Verma, okay, so you've got Nehru, Modi punching in Modi.
From a party who got us independence, that kind of goodwill to Congress party after 47, with all the heavyweights of our freedom struggle on the Congress side, let's be very, very honest, the 52-53 mandate was not Mr. Nehru's mandate.
62 I'm talking about.
62, yes. But the vote share dipped. Vote share dipped a lot.
No,
and
but
there
by
was
then
no
his actions
goes up in 57.
Yeah, but in 62 and after that, he's being punished for his actions. The people in India at this moment are rewarding Modi and the BJP for what they are seeing, far from punishing. Let's spend some time on this. Historically, who comes to your mind? Yashwant Deshmukh?
No, nobody. I mean, nearest that from the... and one point which I wanted to make, where I can probably answer your question, is the hunger to win and willingness to work 24/7 to let that happen. And that thing, only person which comes to my mind is Mrs. Indira Gandhi.
Yes.
Besides that, no other prime minister in India had a hunger to win.
I'm not restricting this conversation, Raj Chingappa, to India. Raj Chingappa, in a historical context, who comes to your mind? Somebody democratically elected.
Only an authoritarian leader who knows how to fix the mandate across the world.
How is he fixing the mandate?
No. I'm not talking about Modi. I'm talking when you say give me an example parallelly. Yeah. There are democratic countries where you will have the likes of a Putin in Russia and Erdogan in Turkey, who will know how to, in a way, manage the mandate.
Erdogan had a very tough fight. He won with 6 percentage points.
In a relatively free and fair system like ours, to do it over 3 elections with your popularity increasing, I think makes Prime Minister Modi sui generis.
You look at Algeria, where there was, this thing that Burj Khalifa, when Nehru was there, then I went with Hamid Ansari, he was still Prime Minister.
Yeah, but let's not compare Algeria with India. I think, Rahul, you make a very good point. In a democratic society like ours, with all the pulls and pressures, as we are seeing in our poll, South India having a very different politics, states like Maharashtra, Bihar, Bengal, Karnataka looking tough for a while. I think Mr. Modi has done the remarkable job of holding his popularity. I will only say this, and I think this is an important point that we need to make. While we talk of the invincibility of the Prime Minister, and I think CSDS's post-poll in 2019 showed 1 out of every 3 voters voted for the BJP because of Prime Minister Modi. The BJP itself is not invincible. That's why I made the slightly controversial point that if I was the opposition, I would focus on states where Mr. Modi is not on the ticket. The BJP is weakened. You want a strategy for the future? Start from the states. Okay, the problem is you're going to make this, the India Alliance has come into this 2024 election with no clue of how they want to face up to Mr.
just to
Modi.
remind the viewers, Rahul, once and again, you know, we are so damn focused on 14, 19 and probability of 24 that we are forgetting the fact that BJP as a party has lost 50% of the elections in this country in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
50%.
Yeah.
You know, so invincibility of Mr. Modi as an individual which the BJP is benefiting from is not exactly the invincibility of the BJP, number one. Number two, yes, I concede and I understand being a conservative pollster, this is probably the starting block of BJP and the NDA. And majority of our polling was happened before the Ayodhya Pran Pratishtha. That impact has to come in, and with the way they are looking out for alliance partners and the way they are going about it, this can only go up. Having said that, if you will ask me if there is any, I don't see a black swan because nobody can predict a black swan, but one red flag, that is the complacency factor. You know, complacency factor was the factor which caused them.
Are they looking complacent to you?
No, they are not. But what 2004 urban areas, the turnout dropped by 18%, and that caused
Modi
the
is
BJP.
no Vajpayee.
That's precisely what I was trying to say. They have learned their lessons pretty hard, and neither
Also,
Modi
there
is
is a very-
Can I give you a very
nor
interesting
Mr.
anecdote now?
Bhagwat is Mr. Sudarshan.
Sure.
Both the factors are remaining.
Can I give you a very
think there is
interesting anecdote?
just
This
one-
morning, I was told by an MP, you know, Parliament has been extended by a day. The BJP is going to put out a white paper on what the Congress did over 10 years. क्या जरूरत है अगर 300 सीट मिल रहे हैं? What to put white paper? लगता है desperate है. मैंने कहा desperate नहीं है. They want to take that 320, 330 that the mood of the nation is good because he wanted to know the numbers. 320, 330 to 370, 375. एक दिन भी नहीं छोड़ना है Parliament का. If we can get an extra Saturday in, where all the TV channels for 7-8 hours will talk about this white paper, keep the mahal going. So there is no complacency. On the other hand, it's like a team which has scored 350 runs is sure to win. But things, yeah, last 10 overs, में और 100 run करके 450 जाते हैं.
Amitabh Tiwari, look at how this 400 par is seeping into the psyche of the opposition. The Congress guests we had today, even Kharge ji in Parliament, they are referring to 400 par. They should be dissing the idea of it's like you have the most forget ideology for a moment. You have the most competent practitioner of the political craft up against the most inept practitioners of politics
I think
in the Congress.
you are right.
That is why when you
Rahul,
have them go head to head.
What Mr. Modi did, what Modi did, sorry, Raj, just
a quick point. I think one, when you look at what he's done in terms of 370 and 400 for the NDA, he's addressing what the concerns Yashwant was talking about. He has pushed the bar even further, higher and better. So, and today you feel he's getting 303 and we, you know, he shouldn't be getting 400.
No, but you heard what Rashid said. The second Congress will be happy with this.
The second point I would like to make. Ek छोटा सा point.
Yes.
Rashid.
See, the Congress thinks that if India Today and Yashwant Deshmukh are saying 71, it means Congress is well past 100 seats.
That's how they're thinking.
Yeah.
No, I just have a
That's
quick
what they're saying.
addition to this one. You were asking about who else would you... I think Mr. Modi is in a league of his own. And
Internationally.
Internationally, yes. And see, we are the world's largest democracy. I think we have produced great leaders.
Precisely.
You may not agree with Nehru or what he did. Come at the hour, it was Nehru. Come at the hour, this time, it was Modi. And I think we must, in many sense, commend that rather than bring comparisons Indira Gandhi.
Okay, so Nehru is one comparison. I'm saying go internationally, Raj, with all the expertise and experience.
You see, there, you could get other kinds of leaders who had just held on to power.
In the recent
Right?
power, probably
You can't have any comparison with American presidents because they have to give up their terms in two terms. You might end up with a Putin, Erdogan, and all those. These are not the kind of leaders you'd like to match this. You know, or even Xi Jinping, the other side, right? He's also there, but of course a completely different system. So if you really look in terms of democratic nations, as I said, he's in a league of his own. I don't think we need to bring comparisons. Here's a person, as Rajdeep had described, we had talked of leadership. We have to appreciate that. May like him, may not like him. There is something about him that is, you know, converted a nation of 1.6.
I think, again, I completely agree with Raj, and just to add to him, see, what sets Modi apart from everyone, that, see, Nehru inherited a party and an organization. Modi also inherited. But BJP was not present in many parts of India as a strong force. What Modi has done in these 10 years has put the party on map in eastern India, in many states where they were in single digit are now running governments, right? So what he has done electorally has basically created that machine which was there, maybe using all kinds of things. But now BJP is a very, very formidable and unparalleled election machine in contemporary politics across the globe.
Can I add,
I think that is one of his biggest
Across the globe,
contributions.
Yeah, you know, can I add two more M's? Interesting. One is middle class. I remember Arun Jaitley telling me this 10 years. He says, as India becomes more and more middle class country, he believed that the BJP was there at the right place, right tap to capture on the energies of this middle class. I believe post 1991, ironically, the Congress party didn't capitalize on the zeitgeist of this new India. They went in the other direction when they should have actually taken credit for Manmohanomics, built this middle class constituency. Look at across urban India, and as India gets more and more urbanized, look at BJP's performance across urban areas. Mr. Modi is popular in both rural and urban. We forget the Labharti scheme and the impact that has had, direct benefit transfer, using it to put money in people's hands. But I think middle class has become a core constituency of the BJP, and they've built around that. And whether we like it or not, it may be the elephant in the room to some majoritarianism. Particularly in North India, there is a sense of a Hindu majority. The point you made, a new republic, somewhere it's the Hindu assertion. That also is a major factor. When I add Labharti and Hindu assertion, I don't think you can win an election.
But which government in the past, Rajdeep, has spoken of making India a developed country and set a timeline for it?
Sure.
And actually then mobilize the will and try to build the circumstances which allow us to move in that direction. This is the only other government that I know.
Rahul, I want to only put one small caveat, which is there are areas of darkness in this country. Let's be honest. Whether it's the ethnic
No, but there are areas of darkness in the United States. There are areas of darkness in Europe.
Rahul, just as I believe the middle class has arrived, unemployment is a serious crisis. It's going to get worse in the era of automation. In education systems will not be able to match what the new market needs. I just think let's not say that we've reached there.
No,
Mr. Modi is offering a dream. Mr. Modi is offering a dream.
And making the effort to achieve that dream. And
he's offering a dream.
He's offering a vision, and he's making the effort to take us in that direction. So it's not as if he's sitting on his laurels.
But then tell me why.
Aspiration is not just middle class, Rajdeep. Middle class is like 50 shades of grey. Anybody who is not in BPL family is a middle class. Okay. So from lower middle class to middle class to the higher middle class, it's an aspirational class. And he is a person who is showing a vision and a dream that, okay, you are maybe suffering, but what the India which I'm trying to make will be a great India for your kids, your grandchildren. And he's working towards that.
But then tell me, if this was also perfect, the double engine as we saw in certain states doesn't work. I think India is too complicated to reduce it to, Modi's captured the attention of all of India in every election.
That's why
he's captured it in a presidential style. In elections increasingly are presidential at the national level. Mera leader kaun hoga? Mera prime minister kaun hoga? Mr. Modi, with his consummate abilities as a communicator, and the point I keep making, Rahul, which Prashant Kishore also now makes, Mr. Modi's been around 50 years in politics. He's seen various, these black swan events, you're able to conquer sometimes through your past experience. It's like a journalist. If you've been 40 years, we can do live program. Pehle saal, it was a struggle. Mr. Modi's been there. He's done the hard yards. Let's give him credit.
He's been in power since 2002.
He's been in power for 22 years, and that gives him experience of hand. On the other side,
he's become elite.
You've got regional leaders who've been stuck in their states. I think one of Mr. Modi's major achievements is from Gujarat Chief Minister. When he became Gujarat Chief Minister, we thought, ye kaise banega, RSS ka aadmi hai, has no experience in governance. When he becomes Prime Minister, we said, yeah, Prime Minister kaise banega?
You said.
Look, no, one minute. I will say this, and I have proof. Mr. Javed Akhtar, at a dinner in 2012, 1 week after Modi won Gujarat a third time, he said, yaar, kya lagta hai, Modi ji aayenge center pe? To maine kaha, hai, I think Modi ji will come to the center. I think he will win the elections. 2012 December, before he tilted. He said, nahi, he is haunted by 2002, nahi ho sakta hai. I said, sir, there comes a time when a person can sort of go beyond his sort of past to the future. So I will not take that, but I will say this, that he surprised people. I would certainly.
And he continues to surprise people.
He continues to surprise.
He continues to surprise the same people who never cease to be surprised. But that's a different matter.
That's a good line. That's a good line.
No, but it's true. It's true.
That's true.
The thing is that, see, the matter of fact is that he works hard. And I think pretty much, and I've said this to Raj, that, you know, as one of my physics professors, he never used to give us marks on the final answer of the numericals. He used to give us the marks on what did we attempt. Dimag lagaya ki nahi lagaya, koshish ki nahi ki. I think Indian voters are coming to an age where they want to see the leaders make an effort. If you make an effort, they are even willing to own up your failures. See how people have owned up his demonetization failure.
Okay.
People, majority of them say, galat tha, lekin sahi niyat se kiya.
Okay, so we are out of time. We are out of time. We need to finish.
There are two politicians which are fascinating in that sense, using this effort point. One is Mr. Modi, one in a very different way, Naveen Patnaik.
Yeah.
25 years, never lost, and you ask people, nahi sir, koshish kar raha hai. You see, Indian voters, he's right, want to reward well-intentioned.
Okay, so we are out of time. We need to wrap up.
No,
Rajdeep?
Rahul, just one little point. I think it's more than just try. Modi delivers. He has demonstrated that on time also. Whether it is building a parliament building, getting things done, he makes sure. That is the culture change.
And also remember that at the end of 10 years, Dr. Manmohan Singh, with no disrespect to him, was completely tired. The government was just coming apart. Even Vajpayee ji, at the end of his 6 years, was very tired. He had to say, not tired, not retired. But, you know, the government wasn't energetic. Prime Minister Modi continues to stay as energetic, as pumped up, where people around, and I've seen younger officers, much younger than him, you know, and at New York, at the yoga day, I asked one young officer in his team, "Arey, tum kyun nahi kar rahe?" "Arey, nahi, unme zyada energy, hum mein kam." So, you know, that's like people half his age. Okay, so Rajdeep, before we wrap up, if you were Modi, what song would you be singing tonight?
What's that song that Shah Rukh Khan had? Number one.
I don't expect me to know.
What is
Does
the song?
anybody else know? Batao,
I'm the best. I'm the
I'm
best.
the best.
I'm the best. Koi hero yahan, koi zero yahan. I'm the best. Look,
If you're Rahul Gandhi, what song are you singing tonight?
you know, you're putting me in trouble
Yeah,
because
गाना
you want,
बताओ.
"Ye kya hua, kab hua, kaise hua." Look, there are lots of songs. But look, seriously, I hope for the
Rashid
sake...
has another song.
Can I though say something? For the sake of
You have one.
Indian...
Okay, Amitabh Tiwari, 1 second. If you
अपना
are...
टाइम आएगा
हाँ, आएगा, भाई.
Yeah, that's
अरे
a...
भाई एडवाइजर्स बता रहे हैं उसको यही अपना टाइम आएगा
Rahul, he's sounding like Devendra Yadav.
Look, let's not rule out
He's sounding
anything.
like Devendra Yadav.
Who? He's saying Rahul Gandhi thinks अपना time आएगा.
नहीं, Rahul Gandhi is being advised कि साहब आपका टाइम आएगा.
Look, I hope for our sake of our democratic process and indeed for our television coverage, we have an exciting election. I hope that this mood of the nation doesn't result in most people believing अब क्यों देखना है?
No.
जीतना तो है.
But
I hope we have a contest.
Is that the reason he has given this shagufa of 360, 370 and 400? Because he might be feeling, Rajdeep bore हो रहा होगा. कुछ नया दो.